This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Greetings, mortal. That's kind of frightening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 79 of Lords of the Storm, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true heroes of the storm. I'm your host, Greg Parker, a.k.a. Gizmozord, but you can call me Gizmo, and on this week's episode, free stuff incoming. The MVP and commendations system is here. We talk esports and the PTR patch notes. But of course, joining me this evening, as always, are some more of the Zord Lords themselves. They're trying to mess me up here. First up, we have Mr. Kevin Ellis, a.k.a. Multi-Zord. Multi, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, although this week I'm fighting both that same cough that I had and allergies. So I'm just going to mute myself pretty much this whole time because I'll be doing something in the background.
And I am still healthy, which is unheard of.
That is weird.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I know, you're usually the sick one.
It's
right.
Maybe I was just allergic to Kansas City or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe I am.
Maybe we have more
makes sense.
allergens.
That's false, I think. The pollen down here is nuts. Yes. We also have joining us, as always, Mr. Ryan Reeder, a.k.a. TBK Zord. TBK, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. I am very excited to talk about all the stuff we got going, especially considering that huge PTR patch, big esports event coming up, and a little bit of Legion on the side, you know.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
It's, so I'm super excited for tonight's episode. Things have been nutso. Life has been nutso recently, and I've just been able to hop into Legion and some heroes, some PTR patch stuff, having a lot of fun in that.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a 4-day weekend this weekend, so it's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Unless,
Oh, yeah? I got a 6-day weekend. What about that?
well, that's fine.
I'm between jobs.
Oh.
I quit one and I start the next one on Tuesday, September 6th. But still, 6-day weekend, man.
Well,
It's worth it.
Vacation.
It was perfectly timed.
Yes.
I'm going to have plenty of time for gaming unless that tropical storm Hermione, or if it turns into a hurricane, whatever, knocks out
Hermione?
my internet.
I want you to say it, Hermione.
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 Hermione. But anyways, what have you guys been up to in gaming this week? I'm sure it's probably all Blizzard stuff. TBK?
Yeah, that's kind of my life these days. Is like all Blizzard all the time. I would have gotten more time in on the PTR Monday, but the PTR actually ended up coming out a little later than they were anticipating it would.
Yep.
But I still got in like 8 games on Monday. I went crazy, just trying to test out everything. It was a ton of fun, other than the one gigantic leg spike in the middle of
Holy
like
cow.
my 3rd game or something like that, where the ping jumped up to 2,500 and everything. We all started reconnecting and like disconnecting every like 5 seconds. It was like a slideshow. I was playing Hammer just because why not on Braxis.
Was Blizzard getting DDoSed at the time, or?
I don't even
No.
know, but it was pretty crazy. So that was tons of PTR fun. I played some more tonight. And of course, I got some Legion time into, and that's been excellent. Probably my favorite expansion since Lich King. Really
I mean,
good. Thumbs up.
it's a little too early to say that, but it's looking good.
So far.
Yeah, that lag spike hit me when I was playing Legion last night. Was running a dungeon, and we all knew that the lag was happening except for our hunter, who we just watched him walk up to a pig pack in Barrage, and we're like,
yeah.
oh boy, now we just got to sit here for 5 minutes until we come
Just
back
wake
and
up
we're
dead.
dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came home today, hopped in the PTR, got some matches, in on the Braxis Hold and some Alaric games in Alarak. Is it Alaric or Alarak?
I think it's Alarak, but
Alarak.
we're not exactly
I'm going to call
StarCraft
him
fans here. So
Sith Lord Tassadar because I don't know.
Yeah.
He's,
He's a Protoss with
he's
a
Sith Lord
bad
Protoss.
attitude.
There we go. But yeah, we'll get into it later, but man, it's going to take some getting used to him. His kit's really cool, but I think there's going to be a high skill cap there. Multi, how about you?
Well, I mean, I've been getting in some Legion, as I claimed many, many times that I was not going to. But I'm all about it. Got my Affliction Warlock going. I cleared, I think, a zone and a half now, and I'm 103. So getting up there kind of slowly. Although there's already people I run into. I was getting ganked by this 109 Death Knight so many times, but what can you do? Anyway, but what I really want to talk about, though, is Hearthstone. As I told you guys, I had to switch to my main account and basically start over with the cards. And I finally was able to craft the Aggro Shaman deck, specifically the one at the top of the Tempo Storm list this week. And I've played that deck so much before that it was like just relaxing almost to finally have access
Coming
to
back to
something
an
brand new.
old friend.
Yes, it was. It was like running into an old friend again for first time in a while. And yeah, I streaked from 19 to 5 super quick in under
Wow.
24 hours. I actually didn't lose a game between 19 and 10, so that win streak just rolled the whole way through. It was pretty fun.
That's
Excellent.
awesome.
So, and I really need it because like you get those chest rewards, based on how you do, and you actually get a golden epic for 5. So that was my goal. I was like, if I can hit 5, we're cool. If that's something terrible, I'll disenchant it. If it's cool, keep it maybe. Either way, I need all the dust and gold I can get for sure.
Excellent. Well, let's go ahead and hop on into Heroes of the Storm stuff. I guess we do a show over that, so we should probably get into it a little
I
bit.
thought this was a Hearthstone show.
What are you doing
awkward.
here?
TBK.
A lot of the same characters are in both.
It's true.
Anyway.
What do we got going on in the store sale this week?
So lots of good stuff this week. Nubarak, Lovebug and Nubarak, and Lunar Chen are all on sale. But the big news is we're getting some price reductions to $649 and 4K gold for Thrall, Tyrande, and Uther. So 3 pretty awesome heroes. A lot of fun to play, and they're getting cheaper. So
Yeah.
2 of those are Hearthstone heroes. Point proven.
Yeah. I
Yep.
guess. Fair enough. We also got some free heroes going on this week. Multi, what do we got going on there?
Well, the first one's another Hearthstone hero, Malfurion, Vala, Tyrande,
Tyrandy.
Tyrion,
Tyrande.
and then we've got Kerrigan, Medivh, or is that Mediv? Do you pronounce the H? And then we got Stitches at account level 5, Chromie at account level 7, Rexar at 12, and Nova at 15. So I want to take this moment, though, to say I'm not going to give you guys any Legion spoilers necessarily, but I came across Malfurion, and I have to say I'm kind of worried that the voice actor didn't do the greatest job. Did you play through that quest line?
Not yet, but there's been a few lines to where I'm like, not. Maybe they picked the wrong take there and it just accidentally slipped in. I don't
A
know.
lot of it's super good. Like they even did voice acting for some of the NPCs and stuff, and like it's in general the voice acting in this expansion blows every other expansion they've done out of the water for sure. But Malfurion is just like, I'm not going to say anything that really spoils his plot line, but he's just always like, "Oh, nature's the way to go. You've got to protect the wild." I don't know. It's super awkward. But anyway, he's a fun hero in Heroes though.
All right.
I like him.
All right.
Mm.
I'll take your word for it. I'm sure I'll get to that eventually. Speaking of hero rotation, store sales and stuff, we got free stuff coming to us.
Free stuff.
Free. We mentioned this last week that they're giving away a free hero. It's not that simple. So they're going to have a list of heroes. Whenever you log into the game on September 13th, you'll be met with a pop-up asking you to claim your reward. And the choice is final, so choose wisely. But you're going to be able to choose between Tyrande, Nubarak, or Thrall, also the heroes that are on sale this week. And if you have all 3 of them, No, was that right?
Yeah, if you have
Yeah.
all three of them, you
Oh,
get the choice of
Nazebo,
Nazebo, Sonya,
Sonya,
and
and
Uther.
Uther. Yes, and then if you have those heroes as well, then you get 4,000 gold. So
Which is actually more than I was expecting.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Like
pretty good.
that's pretty dang good.
I mean
That's a
that's the
nice chunk of change.
price of the heroes, which you think it would be a little less than that, but I'll take it. It gets one of these days I'll start buying heroes with gold again. I don't know why I don't. I just forget about it, and then
You
it's
have
there.
the gold.
That's the problem with these PTRs they release. It's just like, well, this one's gonna be out for 2 weeks. I have to play
Yeah.
Alarak, so there goes my money.
Yes. But as was announced at Gamescom, we have the MVP and commendation system coming in. And I saw this a little bit in the PTR. I only played one quick match, and the rest were customs. It doesn't pop up on customs, which I think it should.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I know. I was disappointed. So I only ended up actually doing one custom on Monday because
yeah,
I have to get my score screen.
but
It's actually really cool.
yeah, it
Whereas
is.
I wanted to just test Brax's Hold, so I went for the customs. Which, by the way, if you guys are looking to just test it, the general channel is really good for it on the PTR. Just /join general, and people are always posting.
Yes. But they are going to have the MVP. So at the end of every match, excluding custom games, as we said, the game's automatically going to promote a player to MVP based on performance, and all players will be eligible for the title, regardless of whether or not you are on the winning team. So it's going to take a look at all your stats combined, put them together. You get a cool, just you on the screen. It gives your stats. It'll show kills, assists, deaths. I think like damage taken, hero damage done, siege damage done, just depending on what role you're playing. But then it's not just going to be MVP. It'll kind of pop up similar to how Overwatch does it right now, but it's going to give other people awards like Headhunter, which is most merc camps captured, Bulwark, most damage taken by a warrior, Cannoneer, most core damage done on Towers of Doom, so that's map dependent one. Moneybags, most coins turn in. Stunner, longest combined stun time. So there's going to be lots of different ones. Dominator, Painbringer, different things like that. And then on top of that, you'll be able to give a little upvote like you do in Overwatch. And I haven't seen like if that does anything, like turns epic if you get 5 or not yet.
So
It
8.
seems
You
to.
need 8, and you'll get the little. You become yellow, and you'll do a special like animation type thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to get 8.
Oh, I see.
never
Yeah, it
happened.
does. It turns gold. They have like a little
it turns
gif of it
gold.
down there. Yeah.
It's very hard to. It's very hard to get 8, but and for those who are wondering, no, there's no extra like monetary or XP things associated with this right now.
Yeah.
Just like
This
in
is-
Overwatch.
This is simply something that it's a feel good. It recognizes you for what you did well, and it's just kind of it gives you something to look forward to. Support the team spirit because even if you lose, you can still get one of these.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't want to be the MVP, though. I want to be the pain bringer. Whoa.
Yeah. So, and also, so we got people asking. It's not play of the game is not going to be in the game yet. That's something they've talked about in the past. I think they're still working on it because they have not mentioned it in a while. So it's just not ready yet. It's Heroes is going to be I think would be a fairly
It's a tough implementation.
It
is. Really
They've
is.
actually addressed it before in interviews, just because of the way the game engine works. It would be, and just because of the way a MOBA is, it's going to be a lot harder to figure out what that play of the game might be. I have no doubt that they'll try and do it at some point, though. I mean,
Well,
it makes
hard.
sense.
It's hard for them to do in Overwatch too, and they invented
yeah.
a whole system to come up with like. Sometimes your play of the game will be if you shut down a Lucio that's trying to ult, and it'll calculate like how many people would have been hit by that ult, and whether or not it might have changed that group fight, etc. Like there's a lot of variables that go into play of the game type stuff, and I mean they just designed the Overwatch system to have that from the get go. To go back and re-implement this on essentially the old StarCraft system would be. I mean, I'm no tech guy, but I'm guessing that's an added challenge for sure.
yeah.
Definitely would be. One other thing to note too is for those that are worried that the MVP is just going to end up being the assassin the whole time. They have come out and said that when they designed this system, they took data from live stuff and threw it against the system to find out what kind of MVPs they would get out of it. And from what they saw, the MVP was for the most part very even between the roles. And I can tell you personally that in the 8 or 9 games I've played since the PTR came out, just that were non-custom. I saw multiple. I saw Brightwing get an MVP. I saw Alarak get an MVP. I got one as Sergeant Hammer, and Tank got it. Johanna got MVP. So I mean,
Okay.
I've seen it spread just in general already
And
across just within
and
a
so
few games.
what's the main metric then? Is it just that they're having good kill participation and very few deaths per se?
I
Or
honestly don't know. It's a combination. It seems to be a combination of a lot of different things between like maybe staying alive for a kill streak or
okay.
capturing a lot of objective stuff, getting a bunch of kills in team fights, and that type of thing. There was one of the stats of when the hammer was shown was the siege damage and stuff like that. So it seems to calculate a lot of different variables, and I mean it has to. Otherwise, your healer would never get an MVP.
Yeah,
Or Johanna.
I think when they mentioned this first at Gamescom, I'm not for sure, but I want to say the biggest weight was the assists versus deaths.
Okay.
And
that
then
makes
it all,
sense.
but it also took everything else into account there. Not you don't have to get the killing blow or anything. You just have to be involved in the fight. And also, I guess worth mentioning, the Allied chat is still going to be available during the duration of the award celebration. So right now, at the end of the game, it's kind of been you have to say something quick if you're wanting to say something.
Oh yeah.
So not all chat, so you don't have to worry about the trolls. Although I guess trolls can just as well be on your team. So yeah, we'll see how well that goes there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm really excited for
I
it.
think
It's implemented well.
it's fun. It's really fun, and
It
they
is
they
fun
did say
until you have that troll.
Yeah,
well.
But go on.
I mean, it's totally possible. There was a few times when we won where all 5 of my team members were the 5 people, like the 4 other people
Yeah.
in the MVP. But there were several games too where there were 3 on my team and 2 on the enemy team that lost. Or if we lost, there was 1 of us and 4 of the enemy team. So it definitely still will. You can get it even if you lose. You can get
Right.
one of
Uh-huh.
those roles, which is really nice. So it gives you that little extra incentive to play for, and that little extra, oh look at me, I did great type thing.
Right. I may have lost, but at least I did well.
yeah.
That's good.
All right. So, well, let's go ahead and move on to some of the tournament and esports stuff. TBK, what do we got coming up? Just a few things,
Just a few things. So this is kind of my community content shout out, but I wanted to mention it up here. The Bloodlust Community Tournament. This tournament is being put on by Solid Jake, and it's a crowd-funded Matcherino tournament. And Matcherino is something where it's kind of like Kickstarter for tournaments, I guess. The Heroes United Season 1 finals did it for their stuff. So Jake set the goal of $5,000, and we're currently at $7,876 for this. And this is a crowd-funded tournament. So holy crap, the Heroes community turned out to support this, and they hit a ton of stretch goals. Jake's going to be there. Dunk Train's going to be there. Zoya's coming back. KO's going to be there to commentate. Sophist, who runs a lot of the ESL stuff, is going to be the tournament director for that. So if you go to the link, and it'll be in the show notes, I just posted it in chat as well. There's a bunch of different backer rewards. A lot of them are taken up already. They are offering coaching sessions. They're offering little video fun things. So it sounds like it's going to be a really big tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. Dates wise, they're going to have an open qualifier on September 10th and 11th, And then the main event will be September 17th and 18th. The top 4 teams from PAX are going to be invited, and then the top 4 people from the open qualifier are going to be invited. So it's going to be, it should be a very high quality, high skill tournament.
Very cool. So do you have to take Bloodlust on Rhaegar in order to qualify? Because I feel like that would be a cool rule.
I hope so. I mean, I feel like
It's almost
I feel
like
like
Jake's
should.
alluding that he wants that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I mean, he's if you know Jake a little bit, he's very gung ho on the whole Rhaegar bloodlust thing. So I feel like this is just him acting out. It's like, let me get bloodlust.
His heart's in the right place. I got to give it to him.
It is
For sure.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so moving on from that, we have PAX coming up. It's this weekend. Holy crap! It's coming up quick. PAX West, the second North American Fall Regional Championship, is set to take place, and it will start September 2nd, which is this Friday, and run through the 4th, which is Sunday. 8 teams will be battling for a $100,000 prize pool and the final NA qualifying, the final NA qualifying spot for BlizzCon this year. For those of you that watched the first one, Murloc Geniuses qualified for that first spot. They released the groups. So Group A is going to be Murloc Geniuses, Team Name Change, Denial Esports, and Dumpster Tier Superstars, who's changed their name like 5 times. More than Team Name Change. It's hilarious. Group B is Gale Force Esports, Team Naventic, Astral Authority, and Imported Support, which that's actually a really cool story because these guys have been playing in a lot of the HOTS United tournaments and stuff. Shot is on this team, and so they had an absolutely insane qualifier game, and I believe it went to 3, Towers of Doom being the last map, and they ended up pulling it off, and just really cool to see him and that team get into the bigger stage. But I wanted to kind of throw out there what our predictions are for PAX this weekend, because I know I'm going to be watching this very closely, as this is our second NA representative for BlizzCon. This is a pretty big deal. We want to make sure that our NA teams are prepped and ready to go against Europe, to go against Korea, to go against China, and Latin America, and the other regional teams. So I'm going to throw out my predictions.
Do it.
And then we'll pass it to you guys. So Group A, I'm going to go with Murlocs and Denial making it out of group stage, with Dumpster being my wild card. And then Group B, I'm going to go with Naventic and Gale Force, with Imported Support being my wild card.
Ah, man.
To make it out of group stages.
Gotcha.
So Group B, I think the groups are a little bit more evenly divided this time. Group B seems to be a little like there's a little bit more competition, I feel like. But yeah, I'm taking Murloc and Denial. I don't have a wild card for A. And then Naventic and Gale Force. But, man, as far as my champion for this tournament, I'm going to say finals. I think Murloc can get there again. And Gale Force. I've
got Gale Force taking it all.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to
And
see
taking the
what
second spot.
they're like with the addition of Fan. They haven't had a ton of time together, and between it's going to be interesting
But
to
it's
see how he
Fan.
fits in with it. Yes,
It's Fan.
so I think it's going to be a really exciting finals if those 2 teams make it. I'm also really interested to see how Denial does now that they have iDream back. That's, of course, 3 of the 5 C9 players. So now D9.
D9 or C9 Lite.
Yeah. So, of course, they're going to have, they're going to mesh a little bit better now. So it's going to be a really good tournament. But I'm... Gale Force and Murloc Geniuses in the finals, for me.
They should mesh better, but at the same time, it's still another roster swap. So who knows? Might have some backlash too. You never know. I mean, these players are among the best in the world. Actually, were best in the world at one point. So can't quite knock that. But I don't know. I'm with you guys in the Murloc and Denial still getting out of Group A. Group B though, I've got to throw all of my support behind Gale Force yet again. I'll choose them for both slots of B and to win it because I'm just that big a fan.
Both
Go
slots
Gale
of B?
Force. Yeah.
All right.
They are the only team that will somehow emerge from Group B. They'll beat them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
And it's gonna be a bloodbath then.
Yeah, it is.
No, I'm really excited for the new Gale Force. I think Fan will bring a lot to their team as far as being a flex goes, and they had a very strong team before. I mean, it came down to Game 5 for them and Murlocs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I feel Fan is a very strong player, so that there's all the eyes are going to be on them. I mean, they really it's really in a lot of ways theirs to lose. There's a lot of pressure on them to deliver, and I think they can do it. I'm really excited about it. It'll be a good time. What else? Oh yes, I'm also interested in new Niventic without Fan. I think that's going to be a little bit of a wild card as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me. I feel like Naventic is kind of having the same storyline as Tempo Storm did. Right now.
It does seem
which
a little bit like that,
it's eerily similar.
They come out super hot, and then just over time, stuff happens.
Slowly
Which,
get overtaken.
Granted, that's happened throughout the NA community. We've had several different teams, rotating through top because of all these roster changes. But those two are much more similar than, the rest of the stuff that's gone on. So we'll see if they can turn it around.
They've got a lot of skill. They've got a lot of skill still. And I definitely would not count them out at all. But this will be the first big tournament post having Fan on the team. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on them too, just to kind of see how they end up doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with PAX out of the way, what's next? Well, more esports, apparently. As of today, Heroes of the Storm announced the Nexus Games. So this is going to be a fall mini tournament type thing that will take place between PAX and BlizzCon for the teams to kind of, as they say, sharpen their blades on the new content against the region's fiercest competitors. There's going to be an NA and an EU version, and each of the two regions will house their own events with their own brackets and a $10,000 prize pool. So not a huge one, but just kind of a cool, like, all right, we know BlizzCon is a little bit away. Let's still get some Heroes stuff going. So how this is going to work is they'll be inviting the top 4 teams from the North American Regional 2, which is at PAX this weekend, and the top 4 teams from the European Regional, which took place at Gamescom, to participate. And then in addition to those 8 teams, they'll be hosting a Nexus Games qualifiers with more details to come, which will result in an additional 4 teams being invited for each region. Mm-hmm. And then once all the teams have been locked, the first Nexus Games will start with a double elimination bracket that will take place throughout September and into October for each region, with each match being best of 5. And from there, it'll all come down to a best of 7 finals just a few weeks before BlizzCon. The cool thing about this event is they are foregoing their usual timeout rules on new content, meaning that all heroes and battlegrounds will be in play at the Nexus Games immediately upon their release.
Very cool.
Which means the new StarCraft maps, Alarak, Zarya, and maybe someone else that we don't know about if they're released in between, but they'll be able to play them right away. So this is going to kind of give those teams a chance to test out some of the new stuff, because all that stuff is going to be playable for BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is a really good idea of theirs to allow the teams to get in some actual tournament level practice and use out of these maps. And I'll tell you, after playing Praxis Hold, I am so excited to see some of these new maps
Yeah.
in competitive play. It's going to be really cool. So from the NA side of things, the qualifiers are going to take place from September 23rd to the 25th, and then there's 3 weeks of events. The 30th through the 2nd of October, the 7th through the 9th of October, and the 15th and the 16th of October. And so more heroes to watch every weekend in the fall. It's going to be awesome. We'll probably see the new heroes. We'll see a lot of the new maps and stuff. It'll be a good time. I'm really glad they're doing this. It's a nice way to not have this big gap in between BlizzCon.
Yeah, I agree. And my first thought whenever they announced this was, oh crap, is this going to interfere with the Bloodlust tournament? But it's not, thankfully. So it's the week after for the NA qualifier starting.
Yep.
And kind of a week in between the Europe qualifiers and the event one. So yeah, Alaric and Braxis Hold will be in all of these events and qualifiers except for the European qualifiers will be the weekend before those launch. And this is a much smaller prize pool than, of course, the World Championships and regionals, obviously. Like BK said, it's nice to be able to get some competitive practice in with these heroes and just, some money on the side there. Plus, I'm just looking forward to, 4 straight weeks of heroes.
I know.
Yeah, as
It's
a viewer,
what's
I'm
on
really
this
excited.
weekend? Heroes. What's on next weekend? Heroes.
More,
what about the
yes.
weekend after that, guys? It's more heroes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. And kind of speaking, since we're kind of in the whole tournament mode, BlizzCon will draw the season to a close. So I wanted to have a little bit before we dive into this ridiculous PTR patch. I wanted to have a little bit of a roundtable discussion on what all we would like to see for Heroes Esports next year. And so I'll kind of kick that off a little bit. They did a much better job this year with their big events and qualifiers and stuff than the last year, of course. And this is only really the first full year that Heroes has been out. It's a growing thing. It's a learning thing for sure. There's definitely been some bumps in the road, from production issues to one of my biggest complaints of Blizzard or ESL or whoever it is not announcing things early enough. That was a huge issue early in the year. They're doing a little bit better of a job as these last few tournaments coming out have kind of showed, hey guys, look, here's the full list of September and October games. That's really nice, and it's several weeks ahead of time. So they're getting better with that. What I would like to see out of the next competitive season of Heroes, though, is more along the lines of League of Legends LCS style.
Yes.
And for those that don't know how that works, it's kind of it's a weekly deal. And so you see more games more often. They have this like spring split or summer split where they do big tournaments and then they have a big Worlds at the end. I don't know if they should follow that exactly, but I would love to see Blizzard really invest some into this, maybe do some sort of LCS style thing where they sponsor teams, where they might even salary teams. Teams play more consistently on like a weekly schedule, so more like real sports, say like football.
Right.
Football, you play one game a week, and so one like small tournament a week where a few teams will face off against each other. You have points, and then at a certain point in the season, other teams can compete to try and nab spots from some of the teams that are on the lower end or stuff like that. And then you have a few big tournaments at different regular intervals where these teams can kind of test themselves against either the best in NA, or you have like 2 world type events or multiple world type events, kind of like they have now. I've really liked the way they've done their big tournaments, but I would love to see more consistent games or consistent scheduling outside of those big tournaments.
And perhaps these Nexus games are our first taste of that. It's possible, at least. I mean, this is that kind of, there's stuff going on every week. It's not exactly leading up to a huge tournament necessarily, but there's a prize pool involved that we're going to see a lot of the teams that we enjoy watching. And I mean, again, as viewers, we're going to have the chance to just watch that much more Heroes over the next several weeks. So always on board with that. But so yeah, I would like to see more of that kind of thing too. I think they could continue with these Nexus games and then just have them sort of build up to the big events, the obviously BlizzCon, but all the other qualifiers leading to it. And I don't see why they'd have too much trouble doing that. And I think that perhaps that they're already looking into it might be a taste for what's coming next year.
Yeah, I think that type of system, the kind of the weekly thing, is going to be better in the long run for a lot of reasons. One, it's easier to view. If you miss out on a weekend, you don't feel like you fell so far behind. Right now, you miss out on one of these tournament weekends, it's completely gone. You can, of course, go back and watch the VODs, but there's so much that happens. It takes up the entire weekend, including sometimes Thursday and Friday. So it's just so much to digest. And while I do enjoy doing it, man, weekend's gone. I do think, with these seasons going up, they could still do these regionals and stuff that they have with the worlds per season. And, earning points throughout the season, they could maybe go away from the group stages and into a straight bracket based on how many points you've placed. I don't know how League does it. But that would shorten up these, regionals and championships a little bit as far as the group stages go. My one concern, and this is mainly with the North American region, is with the current state of North America and all these roster swaps and stuff. I imagine there would have to be some sort of rule set to
some
keep
sort of
them
roster
from,
locks.
Yes, which I think would be healthy, honestly, for our region right now. Because
but maybe
go ahead.
Good. I was just going to say maybe having more consistent games throughout the weeks would just keep rosters together a bit more because they're practicing
that's what I was
on
gonna
like
mention.
a public stage more often.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You got more incentive to stay together when you're playing consistently, whereas when you finish a tournament and then have this massive break in between, I feel like there's more temptation there to try and mix things up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, on the same, the same time, I can see the opposite side where it's like, early on in a season or whatever, and you've had 2-3 bad weekends in a row, and you're like, oh crap, we need to make a change now so we can, start earning some points to make it to the regionals or whatever. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it's like. BlizzCon's almost here. We'll see if they kind of stick around for the same thing for next year, if they decide to switch it up. I think, this Nexus games, like Multi mentions, kind of a step in the right direction here. So,
yeah, I really hope that Multi's right, and this is kind of a test bed for things to come, or a test bed for ideas of smaller type tournaments in between these big ones. Because even if they didn't do the full-on LCS style season or something like that, I feel like that could really help things out a lot when in between the big tournaments, to keep things together, to keep people interested. You'd have the schedule. I could print out my Heroes schedule. It's just like, oh yeah, Saturday for 2 or 3 hours.
Magnets,
there's some games.
like they have the football season magnets.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Bam.
I can get my Heroes season, put it up on my fridge. Yeah.
Put my report cards next to it.
That's right.
You do some
that sounds
fantasy
really good.
heroes. It'd be fine. Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, League of Legends has like a fantasy LCS thing.
That is true.
Just like I'm not a big like fantasy football people. I do like to watch the Chiefs every now and then because it's Kansas City and you like to root for your home team. But I would do a fantasy heroes.
Probably,
that sounds kind of fun.
I could see a bunch of the Zords getting together and like putting money on it and stuff.
Get a pool going.
If that's legal, of course. Yeah, no, cool.
Hypothetically speaking, we
Hypothetically.
would do it if it was.
Monopoly money.
Yes, that's right.
Monopoly.
All
No,
right.
but the thing though is if they are using these Nexus games to test this sort of format, then the test has to succeed. So you guys out there listening, tune into these for sure. Even if you don't want to watch it, just turn on the Twitch channel on your phone, put it on your charger, leave it in the other room, go bake a cake or something. I don't know, but this has to succeed because I definitely want to see more of this kind of thing.
Yep. Only time will tell, though. Let's go ahead and hop into the PTR patch notes, which of course are live now. So if you haven't been in there, hop in, check it out. The Battleground pool has been reduced for this PTR. It contains Dragonshire, Infernal Shrines, and Braxis Holdout. So better chance of getting Braxis if you're doing that quick match. But again, there are a ton of them going up just in people making custom games. So if you're really wanting to play it, it's not hard. They are also testing out the new special event, the Xel'Naga Artifact Hunt, which is a daily quest. If you collect 12 artifact pieces during a single game, you get it 1 day stim pack. That's nice.
This is harder than you think it is too. This requires all the people to actually be paying attention to do this, because the first time the event popped up, I was like, what the crap is going on? Why is that thing stealing the little crystal thing? I don't know, but I want it back.
Yeah.
And so I got it back, but then I didn't click on it. You have to click on it and collect them too. And so I think you have to collect 10 of them.
At 12.
Or is there 12?
12, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you've got to collect a certain amount of them before the timer runs out to get the stuff done. And it takes most of your team to do it. You can't really do it solo.
Yeah, I mean the reward is awesome. A day stim pack for those people that don't have them. It should require some teamwork there, but I don't. People maybe the first day it'll be hard. Then people will be like, all right, let's just do this, get it done with, and there.
It's a little harder than the treasure goblin.
Yeah.
Does it stack? Like if you already have a stim pack going, does it get tacked on the end as we've seen with some of these
I would
games?
imagine.
Okay. So yeah, it's for anyone, even us still rolling with the,
Those year-long
one.
But then there's also the event quest where if you collect 150 artifact pieces before the Machines of War leave the Nexus on October 18th. So you just got to do this thing, 15-ish days, 14-ish days. To get this, you'll get the Xel'Naga Artifact Portrait. And yeah, there you go. There's a 50% chance for these things to spawn at the beginning of each game, so it's not going to be in every game. I think the monkey was in every game, right? And then it was the goblin that was just iffy.
Did the monkey
I
have
saw that monkey
clause where
way too many
someone
times.
had to have it? I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I don't know. But also, let's get on.
Regardless, it's doable.
Yes.
You should be able to get 150.
Alarak is in the game. He is a melee assassin. Like I said before, I got in there and man, I didn't do too hot with him. I think I played him 3 games. He is tough. So let's go over some of his basic stuff. His trait is Sadism. You deal 100% bonus ability damage versus enemy heroes. Basic ability is Discord Strike. After a half-second delay, deals damage to enemies in front of you and silences them for 1.5 seconds, which is awesome. Telekinesis. Man, this thing.
It's a weird ability.
Yeah, push yourself and any enemies hit from the targeted point toward the targeted direction. Enemies pushed by telekinesis also take light damage. It was on my 3rd game. I finally figured out how this thing works. I was so confused. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a little slow, all right? So you hover over this thing, and it's a big circle around you. And I had done it a few times to where I pushed in front of me and it pushed him away. If the hero was between me and the edge of my circle, and I kind of clicked, to put the enemy hero between me and the point I clicked, it would push him towards me. And then that started not working, and I was like, "What the heck is going on? This thing is acting super weird." You got to click and drag it to go the direction you want. I'm dumb. I'm real dumb.
It was weird on quick cast because I have my quick cast on. So they said the description is not necessarily the most clear thing in the world. So I was clicking and it was moving, but I was just like, how do you determine the direction it goes? Because I hit W and it pushes me back, but then I hit it again and it pushes me forward. Like, what is going on? And then I realized that I held down the button and it reverted to kind of a click on cast on release type thing just because of the nature of the ability. And so it's really interesting. I feel it's going to be incredibly high skill cap and it's going to be incredibly impactful in games.
Yeah, you can do some awesome stuff with it. It's extremely unique ability. But yeah, it's going to take some getting used to. But then for his E ability, we have Lightning Surge, which deals damage to an enemy and all enemies between you and the target. You're also healed for 75% of the damage dealt to heroes. So this is cool too. Kind of a little bit of self-sustain. And the range, the default range for it is okay. It's not super long. What would you say? Like the Thrall's lightning bolt range, maybe a tad longer.
For the lightning
Surge?
Yeah, lightning surge. It's smaller than
Isn't that more a-
telekinesis.
feral spirit range.
Maybe it's fairly small to begin
Yeah,
with.
it's not super big.
And then heroic abilities. We got Counter Strike. You become protected and channel for 1 second. If you're attacked during this time, you will send a shockwave forward that enemy or damages enemies in its path. And then Deadly Charge. You channel and then charge in the targeted direction, dealing damage to all enemies in your path. Charge distance increases based on the amount of time spent channeling, up to 1.6 seconds. While channeling, movement commands will cancel Deadly Charge at no cost. Taking damage will interrupt channeling. Did either of you get a chance to try both of these out?
Yes.
Okay, what's
And
your
it's
thoughts on
fun
for
because you
gold
can
on this
take
guy,
both
so.
of them.
Yeah, my games didn't get to 20, so
Oh, okay. I had one game last 20, and both of them are kind of interesting. The Counter Strike seems like it's going to take a lot of really good timing to pull off.
Get the most
It's a
out of
decent
it.
amount. Yeah, it's a decent amount of damage for sure, and you're protected during the channel for 1 second, which is cool. But Deadly Charge, at least, was the one I found to be a little more useful in the games I was playing. Basically, you stand still. As long as you don't take damage, you'll keep channeling it up to a certain duration, and it's long.
yeah.
Like the Deadly Charge has a super long radius. It charges up really fast. So you could easily use this as an escape because it's not a super long cooldown, or you could use this as like a super insane catch up to somebody who's trying to run away. It's really cool. You just have to remember that any damage you take will cancel the channel.
Yeah.
And any movement you do will cancel the channel as well.
So if
just
used
in case.
offensively, it sounds kind of like On the Hunt with Illidan, just in the sense that you close a huge gap really fast, right?
Yeah, but it's not like to a target. I
You're
mean,
aiming
this thing books it. It's not like why can't I think of the other Protoss?
Zero
not-
tool,
No,
task.
not Tassadar.
Those
Artanis.
Artanis. Gosh,
Yes.
there are too many of them. They all look the same.
How many protons?
really
Oh
do.
my gosh. Yeah, it's not like his little dash speed or anything. I mean, this thing moves and it moves fast. It was hard for me to tell how much damage it does too. It seems like a lot, especially if you're getting a nice.
It's a decent amount. It's
yeah.
not like anything eye popping or anything, but it's a decent amount of damage. You could use it pretty easily to finish off a low health person
Yeah.
as they're running away. Get to them really quickly, and then maybe do a basic or a lightning surge or something like that to finish them off.
Yeah, or your telekinesis for sure. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll of course dive more in depth into him here in probably 2 weeks, whenever we have time to dig into some builds. He has some interesting ones. I haven't
haven't figured out honestly. I've played several games. I'm leaning towards right now a Discord Strike
Yeah,
build.
that's
As
kind of where I was going
Discord
to.
Strike is incredibly powerful if you can hit it. There's talents that will increase the length of the silence. There's talents that will increase Discord Strike's size. So from what I've been kind of playing, it's an incredibly impactful ability, and it is also a very unique shape. It's like an arrow or a
It's a cone.
triangle. Yeah.
It's like an ice cream cone where Alaric is the ice cream.
Yes.
Oh,
He's the
that's
scoop of ice cream
well
on the top of the cone.
metaphor.
no, I get that.
Well,
Yeah.
And I'm hungry for ice cream now. Thanks.
It's perfect. Wow, I can't believe I did that. Okay. Also, in this, as we mentioned, Braxis Holdout. Multi, what are your first initial thoughts of this map?
I loved it. Like initially, when I saw that this was going to be the StarCraft pack, et cetera, I was only so excited because I mean, I played some Brood War back in the day when I was a kid, I guess, but I haven't really touched StarCraft 2. Wasn't that excited about it in general, but when I got in there and actually tried it out, it was super cool. I mean, the boss in the middle is super fun.
Hurts.
Hurts and just looks cool. Like the fact that you
crazy.
see every little bullet that
love
it
it.
shoots off, and I don't know. So I mean, the map itself, as far as the objectives go and everything, I'm a little bit more reserved, only in that it does seem like it's a little snowbally right now, which I don't know if they'll be able to change that in time before it actually launches. But and the funny thing was, because I really only hopped in and started playing a few of them today, and it seemed like the people who were in there doing the custom games, trying out Braxis Hold, they all kind of knew that already. Like I think it's just accepted over there that it's a pretty snowbally map. So as soon as my team won a substantial group fight, the other team was just kind of like, all right, well, GG. They didn't really try after that, unfortunately. But you know, hey, what win for me? Whatever, I'll take it. So, but I mean, just in general, the style and everything I loved. The objectives are okay. I mean, it seems like a variation on the same theme we've seen a couple times, but I mean, I love the flavor for sure. What do you guys think?
So it's interesting. I had a couple snowbally matches. I did have one where we got the first two full, and then we still ended up losing. So it's interesting. If you haven't played it yet, so there's going to be, it's a 2-lane map with a really hectic jungle area. Lots of crazy pathing, but there's going to be just below the top lane a satellite or a beacon, and then just above the bottom lane another beacon. These will spawn, and you have to capture them, much like Dragonshire points or shrines, and then hold them. But you have to hold both of them. And if you have control of both, your little Zerg meter will start to fill up. And it's the first team to completely fill their meter up. And then the Zergs just rush from either top lane or bottom lane. They are opposing. I don't know. Does it switch to where the winning team pushes the weakest lane, or does it just switch every time?
It swaps every time.
Okay.
From what I've seen, it swaps every time. So it's like a lot of people are calling this, and I think it's fairly appropriate, Haunted Maps 2.0. And in a lot of ways, this seems to be kind of their attempt at solving a Haunted Maps type scenario,
Haunted Mines.
or Haunted Mines type scenario, because with the flip-flopping, in theory, you can't just go crazy on one lane with one team getting a huge advantage. In practice, right now, the Zerg swarms are incredibly strong.
Holy cow. They hurt
Incredibly strong. And this map highly favors lane clear, or teams with AoE or some kind of clear that can get rid of the Zerg. So, I mean, for when you draft to this map, you want to draft for lane clear. It's extremely important. But at the same time, in like a quick match scenario or something, if you get thrown in and the other team has good wave clear and you don't, you will be severely disadvantaged as it is right now, just because the Zerg swarms are so crazy.
You know,
And I don't know how they fix that either. Sorry to cut you off, but I mean, I don't want them to nerf the Zerg. It should be terrifying when a bunch of evil space bugs get released on your base. Like that's as a flavor thing yet
Terrifying.
again. They should keep that.
It's interesting. So I don't. It's certainly leaning in the direction of wave clear being king for this map. However, I will say it's the objective phase itself is longer than you'd expect. I mean, you have to have both of these points captured for quite some time to fill up that meter. So it'll be, I mean, some sustain. People that are able to hold down an area might be, keying over the wave clear. It's going to be hard until we kind of really see this in game and people figure it out. But I think it's really interesting. As far as, I don't know if I like the length of the objective, but the, controlling 2 points, I just said it was, longer than possible, but it almost seems like once one team actually gets control of both of those, then it's hard to take them back.
Yeah.
And so from there, it's, they're going to have a super strong wave. So I don't know if there needs to be some sort of mechanic that either pauses that or else like give something else to where the other team can still be trying to build up theirs at a much slower rate.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. As it is right now, if you get a wave that's decently or significantly stronger than the enemy team, you can pretty much ignore the enemy wave. And if you push with your wave that is decently or significantly stronger, like the first time we did that, we had our 100% to like a 25% or something like that. And so we just ignored their wave completely, and we pushed with our wave. And granted, this was against a team that didn't have much wave clear at all. We pushed all the way and got the first keep to half, the very first wave.
Yeah.
And so it's rough. I mean, I think this is going to be one of those maps where a certain subset of heroes will shine much more than another one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we need a lot more time with it.
Maybe that's one way to fix it, though. Make the weaker wave stronger. I mean, that makes wave clear heroes even more important, but it would maybe lead to just at least you having to send someone back to clean it up, like you see in Battlefield of Eternity and that sort of thing. So, I don't know. Don't know the answer.
Yeah, and like I
It's
said,
fun, though.
Like I said, the jungle area is crazy. So like there, I mean, gank, type compositions might do well here too. There's so
'Cause
many
it's a small
places to
map.
set up gank bushes. Yeah, and just to
Right.
be
It's
able
not a
to
big map.
pick people off in order to gain that advantage to control those beacons. So I'm excited for it. It's I like it more than I was expecting. For
Me
sure.
too.
Going into this, I was looking forward to the next map much more, but this.
I mean, I still am. But,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
The
one of
art
those-
team killed it, though.
Yeah.
It's so good. It just looks incredible.
All right. So lots and lots of changes here. Man, the ranked play, we'd mentioned some of this stuff before. This is new. The Grandmaster League, so the maximum number of Hero League Grandmaster players has been reduced pretty drastically from 500 to 200, while the Team League maximum is still going to remain at 100 players. And then we mentioned previously the promotion and demotion matches. Players will no longer receive a flat 250 rank point adjustment after winning a promotion match or losing a demotion match. Instead, the matches will now award or remove the same amount of points as normal, a normal ranked game. And those are also going to pool now, which is nice.
So you won't lose a promotion game and then necessarily have to play 3 more games and win them all in a row
Yeah.
to get back to
Right.
it.
Let's see here. Battlegrounds. This is kind of interesting. Mercenaries. There have been some timing changes. Previously,
pretty big.
Yeah. Previously, all merc camps spawned at 120 seconds. There have been some adjustments. Sappers and doubloon pirates now spawn at 90 seconds. And then knights and fallen shaman now spawn at 150 seconds. The others have remained unchanged. So Just
And captured mercenaries don't grant experience when
okay.
killed
Yes.
anymore. So that's actually
Yeah.
a decently significant change too. So this could really change up some rotations as far as some of the maps go. I don't know. I like that they're adding a little more strategy into it. It's just going to be one more thing that you have to think about spawn wise, or something that might sync up with the objectives or something like that.
Yep. And then they also added into try mode boss camps and ability to change the enemy hero, which is nice, and ability to change game speed. Not the ability to change Malfurion. Darn it.
But now you don't have Arthas isn't going to get beat up all the time anymore. This is a huge like win
Buff to
for
Arthas.
Lich King rights. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, come on, let us change Malfurion. Just let us do it. Talent changes here, TBK. If you want to hit on those.
Oh man. So imposing presence now has a completely new functionality. Heroes that attack you will have their attack speed slowed by 20% for 2.5 seconds, but you can activate imposing presence to slow the attack speed of nearby heroes and summons by 50% and their movement speed by 20% for 2.5 seconds. So this is really like an awesome ability now, because it'll give you still get some of the effect of the old talent, but now it'll give you kind of an activatable, I want to use this in this situation, which is a really cool, because that gives you another decision point you can make. And then at the same time, it's the same with Spell Shield. So Spell Shield used to just be on and kind of absorb the first thing that was hit, and there was certain heroes or certain times where you could basically poke that Spell Shield away and kind of waste it. Now, Spell Shield can be toggled on or off to allow you to better control which abilities you want to mitigate with it. So you don't have to touch it at all. You don't have to touch it, you don't have to worry about it. But as an extra layer of skill, they've added this in. So if you want to be thinking about that, okay, this guy's got this ability or this guy's got this ability, and you can time that or save it out and mitigate something bigger. We'll see this a lot come into play in pro play, I'm sure now. I really like the added ability, the added layer of strategy with some of these previously just kind of passive talents.
Me too, for sure. I just got to ask though. So if it's just left on, does it pretty much just function like it does now?
It works exactly like it does before. If you just leave it on, but it gives you now the ability to turn it off and absorb, or at least try to absorb what you think will be more impactful than someone just like poking you with something to stop it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So some hero changes. Quite a bit here.
Big time.
Yeah. So as we discussed last week when we were talking about the mount speed changes, which I don't think we mentioned, mount speed changes have been reduced from what?
40.
It's a
40 to
10%
30?
reduction.
40 to 30? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 40.
So Falstad up first, his Tailwind trait has been reduced from 20 to 15%. So not a 10% decrease, which is nice. And
It's still half of what the regular mount does in both cases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. His talents, new talent, he's getting Wingman. Enemy minions killed near you grant a stack of bribe. Use 20 stacks to bribe a mercenary, instantly defeating them. It does not work on bosses, and you can have a maximum of 80 stacks. So
I tried this.
yeah. Oh,
Did you?
and
It's
you also permanently increase the damage of lightning rod by 5%, which is a nice thing there.
Yes.
But so you tried this?
I did, and I still don't feel it competes with his regular hammer talents, but for like massive single target damage, it's kind of fun, especially on a map that has several mercenary camps. I went kind of just to play around with it. I went kind of a full lightning rod build, and you could really pump out a lot of single target damage. I think I had a 50% damage bonus by the end of a 20-ish minute Dragonshire game.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of cool. I don't know if people will work it in or how often it'll be used, but I really like that they're going back and trying to flavor some of these generic talents to hero-specific things.
Yeah.
Makes them easier to balance too, honestly, if it's a hero-specific one.
Yeah, and it's nice now because with the 80 stacks, you can now take a whole night camp. I don't believe with current iterations of Bribe that was possible. So you never know with how the whole split pushing kind of meta is coming back with the buffed mercs, reduced mount speed now, and kind of specialists making their way back. Who knows? Maybe somebody will find a way that this is more important than the crazy damage Falstad can put out with his Gathering Power talent. Not Gathering
You
Power.
just never know.
Is it called Gathering Power?
Gathering Storm.
Gathering Storm. Yes. Greymane.
Stack your hammer damage.
Yeah. Greymane, Relentless Predator trait removed. Gone.
And
Nova.
it's good to note that they removed almost all the Relentless-like talents.
Yes.
That reduced the duration of, short-term reduce the duration of CC.
Yeah.
And I must say, way to kick Greymane while he's down, guys.
Yeah, seriously.
So disappointed.
Yeah, and also pretty much all the movement stuff. So like Nova's advanced cloaking got reduced as well. However, TBK, she got a new talent here. What do you think of it?
Bribe.
Yeah.
they alluded to this. They alluded to this on a Reddit post like a few months back, and they did it. Okay. I haven't gotten to try it out yet. So I kind of like where their thinking is, because it's enemy minions killed near you get a stack. But hero takedowns also grant you 10 stacks. You use 25 to bribe a mercenary. You instantly defeat him. Doesn't work on bosses. You can stack 100 of them. So, I mean, Nova's the type of character that this, in theory, could work really well on, because she can sneak back into the back line and steal a camp. And now that it's 100, like you were mentioning, you can take a full night camp with this now. So in some ways, depending on the map, how big it is, how many merc camps are on it, it could be kind of fun to play around with. I know I'm going to try it out in a few games, just kind of see how it feels. It's cool. It's cool. It's another flavor bribe talent.
Well, and it's
Nova's
cool
the new split pusher. Oh, yeah.
because so where Falstad got the increased damage of lightning rod by 5%, if Nova does this and she completely clears the camp using bribe, the camp is going to respawn 50% faster, which is also really nice. So cool things there. Raynor's recruitment removed. Relentless Leader moved to level 4. No longer reduces duration of stuns, slows, or roots, and it also has new functionality. If you are stunned or rooted, all nearby enemies are knocked back, and the cooldown of Adrenaline Rush is reduced by 15 seconds and can only occur once every 8 seconds. So
That is pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Butcher.
Oh my gosh.
Butcher.
So much.
The Butcher of PTR right now.
It's pretty awesome.
Have you gotten a chance to play him, TBK?
I have.
Okay, so I'll let you talk. I love the Butcher. I've played against him in PTR. I have not played him yet. So
Same.
So it's a completely different take on Butcher. They nerfed his basic attack damage from 169 to 140. So it's pretty significant. But they changed up his fresh meat trait, which is awesome. So his fresh meat trait is now a quest. It's just a built-in trait quest. So nearby minions will drop 1 fresh meat. Heroes drop 5 when they die. You pick up fresh meat to gain 1 basic attack damage per meat. You can hold 125. You drop up to 10 fresh meat upon dying. And I'm not sure, and I really wasn't able to tell in my limited amount of time what that up to 10 means. It could be based on level. It could just be based on, if you don't have 10, then you're not going to drop 10.
yeah.
Type of thing. So, but after you collect 125, you gain an additional 100 basic attack damage, 25% increased attack speed, and no longer lose fresh meat on death. And not only that, your weapon, your big old cleaver, starts glowing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Butcher is now a late game, probably the closest Heroes has to a late game carry, I would say. You have to, you can't play him the same you did before. He's much weaker early game because as I was saying earlier, it's a significant basic attack damage reduction. You have to be a little more careful with him. If you've got a team that can be kind of built around him a little bit, you can totally still gank with him. He's got that ability, but you're going to be better served, especially early game, farming as much of that fresh meat as you can, getting that attack damage up and finishing that quest as quickly as possible, rotating between lanes, because it's all about the fresh meat stacks right now. Because that's as soon as you hit that quest done, you get a just absolutely insane power spike. It's nuts. They also changed Butcher's Brand a little bit, the functionality of it. The duration was reduced from 5 to 4 seconds. But now, basic attacks against enemy heroes affected by Butcher's Brand increase the duration of Butcher's Brand by 0.5 seconds. So that's pretty dang cool, too.
Especially once you have the quest done and the extra attacks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, once he finishes that quest, he becomes a monster. They made a ton of different talent changes. I mean, we don't have time to go through everything. The one I want to point out, which a lot of people have asked for, and this is so cool because it's Butcher. This just feels so good. At level 13, you've got a new passive talent called Cleaver that allows 35% of your basic attacks to deal damage to nearby enemies.
Yeah.
So he finally gets a cleave because he's got a cleaver. It's a cleave. It's kind of cool. I like it. He's amazing.
I want to mention here, first off, how cool it is that they're having a quest built into one of the traits, which is cool. Neat. And
it's a new precedent. That could be really cool for future reworks or future heroes that they're thinking like that.
And then they did a couple things here that I think addressed one of the problems Butcher had. So, like the Ruthless Onslaught, there's a reduced time between Butcher hitting his target and his first basic attack. That was a pretty big problem before because it was such a long pause that there were a lot of heroes. You would onslaught them, and you would be stunned there for a second, and they would get away before you can even hit them. So that's good. Plus, I like his level 7 talent, new level 7 talent called Meat Shield, where hitting an enemy hero with Ruthless Onslaught grants spell shield, reducing damage from enemy spells by 50% for 2.5 seconds. Because one of the big counters to Butcher was you know where his onslaught is going, so you can have your abilities there waiting for whenever he stops. So this is kind of a nice little thing to keep him from getting instantly blown up. So I'm super excited.
He's got a lot of cool talents.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get back in there and test some more of his stuff out.
Is he going to be strong enough in the late game that we're going to actually see some pro play out of him, though? Like, does this fix some of his problems? Because to me, even after all this, I mean, I haven't had the chance to test him out yet myself, but he is one that you tend to want to build a comp around and have to make work as opposed to just being able to throw in any situation. Do you think that he's going to be a little bit more just flexible in comps now, or are you guys still concerned about it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think with what he's doing right now, and I was watching a video on Reddit yesterday of Rich, one of the just bonkers Korean players, and just doing things with just butchery. He was doing butchery with Butcher. It was absolutely insane. I would be very surprised if he stays in his current state and we don't see some pro play or some team comps made around him, because he's incredibly fun. He's incredibly strong right now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. I think the next big hero here is Vala.
I did get a chance to try her out, actually.
Perfect. So, why don't you let us know how you feel about her rework here?
There's a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of it's really number-based as well, so I don't want to get into every single little thing. But they are... One major one that is numbers-based is her basic attack damage was reduced from 94 to 60, which you're already going like, what? I thought she was kind of an auto-attack hero. Why would they nerf that so bad? In part, they they build in things into her build later that kind of makes up for it. For instance, like her trait, the damage increase per stack is increased from 3 to 8%. That would be the major fix there. But then they have this rule now where after 4 seconds without landing a basic attack, you lose all stacks of your hatred. And then a lot of the other changes are just various cooldown deals. I mean, like for instance, multi-shot went up from 8 to 12 seconds. And then the mana cost increased and that sort of thing. Damage went up a little bit to compensate too. So I think, I mean, just from the feel of it, I think they're trying to make Vala more of an auto attack hero, try to turn away from the ability based stuff. Although a lot of those talents are still in there, like the grenades on the W, a bunch of the stuff with her hungering arrows still in there. But it seems like right now it's all about really managing the hatred. Like if you don't have your stacks going, then you're in trouble. And with them, it's really strong. And there's actually some new quests that are built in as well that are really fun. One of them, let me look for it here. There's one where you literally get stacks for every auto attack that you hit on an enemy hero that just help you out. I'm trying to find out where. Do you guys see that one exactly?
She's got a bunch of new quest talents.
There's so many.
Like
There's so many notes here.
her rework notes are like 3 pages long by themselves.
Okay, here it is. It's level 4, Creed of the Hunter. You passively gain 10% attack speed, and then after attacking enemy heroes 100 times, increase your hatred basic attack damage bonus per stack by 2%.
Oh,
So,
yes. I tried that build out.
yeah, me too. The build I tried was it came off a little awkward maybe, but I tried every single talent that went into just buffing your auto attacks, and it felt like okay, but I'm kind of worried still because like the old auto attack build that I used to love with searing attacks and all of that is just pretty much gone with this rework. I loved being able to just activate searing attacks and get the extra crits in whenever I wanted. I mean, you could probably get more damage output once you get used to her more. Maybe I'm just not used to this new build. But
I kind of agree with you, Multi.
yeah, did you try her too?
I did. I really liked her new Reign of Vengeance. It's
yes.
actually really cool because Reign of Vengeance went to a charge-based system. The cooldown was reduced to 60 seconds. They reduced the damage and the mana cost, of course, to kind of compensate for that. But you now have 2 charges of it, and each charge casts 1 wave, which I love because that gives you a lot more control over the stun, whereas before, a lot of the time, the first wave would go off and stun somebody, but you could get out by the time the second one landed. And that second one was wasted a lot. So that's kind of a cool addition. I love charges for abilities. My biggest problem with her was also the hatred. Changing it so all the hatred stacks drop at the same time versus slowly decaying has really made her very hard to play. Because while your hatred stacks are up, you're doing a ton of damage. And if you pick a talent, one of the talents, you can do a crap ton of self-healing as well.
That's true.
With your full hatred stacks. But if it's right now, I feel like it's way too easy to zone her out, or she loses that power when swapping between lanes,
That's what I
or
was gonna
even
say.
if the team fight moves slightly to the right, and she can't get
4
in
seconds
fast
travel
enough
time.
to get another basic attack in, and then she loses all of her stacks. And until you take a talent later that lets you get like 2 per basic attack, they don't come super fast either. And so I think that's my biggest problem with her right now. I feel like if they kept this as it is, but changed the hatred back to a decay rather than just a drop, I think she'd feel a lot better. Personally.
Because that point about moving between lanes and that sort of thing. Imagine playing her on Cursed Hollow now. Like you would start every tribute fight with just nothing stacked up yet. Would I rather do that, or would I rather fly in with Falstad and annihilate the entire enemy team? I'm not sure. I don't know which I'd choose.
So, what first iteration for a new build? Do you like the direction it's going, but obviously needing some changes compared to where it was?
the flavor stuff is fun and the quests are cool, but there are some things I miss. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yes, the answer to the question, do I like the direction it's going? Other than maybe that thing that we just talked about with the hatred, yeah, they did a lot of work here for sure.
Yeah, same here. I feel like I like a lot of the changes they did, and if they tweak the hatred to kind of a decay back again, and I mean, you can still tweak that. You can tweak how fast it decays and whatnot. I mean, I feel like what the changes they made are solid. It's more a numbers thing right now, and the hatred thing is really the biggest standout. But other than that, I really like the direction they're going with it.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, so make sure you guys get in there and try her out. You know, the more testing she gets in PTR, the more able they're going to be able to make some slight tweaks or something coming out of here. So we'll see. We got some specialist stuff. Some things that stick out here. Murky's Octograb. Murky's now unstoppable while casting Octograb. Killing Murky now immediately cancels the Octograb.
This is a nerf. This is a
Yes.
murky nerf.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like Murky is not in a good spot right now. He's just not. The kind of I don't necessarily want to say power creep, but maybe ability creep. Or
Well,
Yeah.
something. It's that type of thing. Basically, it's made it so Murky has a much harder time staying alive and doing what he's supposed to do best. This change sounds kind of good, but Murky's not hard to kill, and Murky can't do anything else while he's casting Octograb. It's not that hard to kill him. You just kill him, and now instead of Octograb staying, it's gone. So I feel like Murky needs some love.
well,
What if he could put up his bubble while grabbing?
I don't
Do
know.
we like that idea?
Well, so I mentioned this about Murky either last week or a few weeks ago, and I think this is just my opinion of the state of this character. He was put in the game to be a fun character to play, and he was effective really early on. But I feel like the more heroes that come out, he's just going to get weaker and weaker. And he's not a character that they're going to be able to buff just to make up for that, because then he could just get ridiculous. So if anything, he's just going to be eventually a character that is fun to play, mess around with, or they can do the route that they've done with so many heroes now, and that is do a rework for him, which would be interesting. But
That's kind of what I'm feeling
but-
almost right now. Not like necessarily a full-on rework, because you want to keep the feel of him intact, but
Yeah.
he needs something right
They
now
have to
because
change
he's just
how
not in
the
a good
egg
spot.
and resurrections work, though, to I don't know, because if they keep that, any buffs to him are just could be incredible, like you said. So
I know one person mentioned as an idea allowing his egg to soak XP, which would be kind of interesting.
forcing them to put it like
then
in a
it-
bush.
Yeah, then you could have a pseudo Vikings type thing, maybe a few more egg type talents, be a little more aggressive with it, but have to put it in places that are a little more vulnerable. Some numbers tweaks or whatever, but I don't know. I don't like the Octograb change. That was like the one redeeming feature of Murky.
Well, yeah, it's a weird change with the state he's in. So, let's see here. Sergeant Hammer, Siege mode, can no longer enter Medivh's portal while in Siege mode without the Hover Siege talent.
Boo.
Yeah, boo.
Boo.
And new functionality for her resistant. If you're stunned or rooted while in Siege mode, you gain 50% damage resistance for 3 seconds. So a little bit of survivability there for her. We've been seeing her win rate slowly climb since her nice added 20%
Yeah, it's
range
pretty
built
big.
in, which was cool.
Mhm.
Zagara, creep tumor, movement spread on creep reduced from 20 to 15, and level 20 endless creep movement speed reduced from 40 to 30%. So that's the things that stick out for the specialist here. Again, there are going to be some stuff we don't hit on, so feel free to check out those notes, and I'll post them in the chat here in a second. Support players, TBK, what do you think of Brightwing's little
Brightwing
bribe
got a new
change?
bribe. And this is actually kind of cool. Each time Soothing Mist heals an allied hero, excluding yourself, you gain a stack of bribe. And you use 20 stacks to bribe a mercenary, and you got a max of 80. So again, you could do a full 4 camp. If this is the right team, this could actually be an incredibly strong thing, because you could stack up bribe stacks really fast, especially if you're roaming a lot and ganking or
2 lane maps where you're
yeah,
maybe have
where you-
one guy in the split pushing lane.
Yeah,
and
where
then
you're a
there's
lot
4 of you
closer.
that you're healing. Yeah.
And Brightwing can kind of be a little sneaky with bribe too, going up, bribing something, teleporting away, blink healing away, stuff like that. It'll be fun to mess with. I don't know if it'll be better than some of our other level 1 stuff, but yeah, it'll be fun to mess with.
So much bribe love this patch. That's
I
kinda
know.
weird.
Yeah.
Again, they're
I don't hate it, but-
replacing. Yeah, they're replacing, and they've been saying they've wanted to do this for a while. They're replacing most of these generic-y type talents, either completely just getting rid of them like Relentless, or changing them to hero-specific ones because it makes their job balancing easier. Because then when they tweak something, instead of tweaking it for a ton of different heroes, they can just tweak it specifically. Because that's the
Right.
problem, like something like Dota or League of Legends has. When they tweak an item, that can have massive ramifications across the entire hero pool. Whereas
Right.
Blizzard can pretty much tweak individual heroes and individual talents on the heroes for balance, which makes their job balancing way, way easier and more predictable.
It makes me a little sad here that she doesn't have something that affects one of her abilities or something like some of the other heroes do here, but it's okay. I'll forgive it. Karazim, Sixth Sense is kind of same thing along the lines of Hammer, Stuns and Roots against Karazim grant 50% damage reduction for 4 seconds from basic attacks for 4 seconds. Lily, I'm sad a little bit about this. So Shake It Off, the passive has new functionality. Stuns and Roots against Lily grant resistant, reducing all damage, taken by 25% for 3 seconds, and that cannot occur more than once for every 10 seconds. So she's not going to be as slippery as she
yeah.
once was.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's still not a terrible talent, I guess.
No.
But yeah, it's not the shake it off it used to be.
I want to hit on this one.
Yes.
I played 3 games with Morales, and this in my mind is a massive buff. This is a
Okay.
huge buff to Lieutenant Morales. So her displacement grenade no longer explodes on contact and passes through everything. Players can now reactivate their grenade, causing it to explode on command, damaging and displacing enemies. Displacement grenade will automatically explode if it reaches max range. This is a super significant buff for Morales, especially once you get good at this grenade. I was using this in the few games I was playing to reposition enemy team members all over the place while they're running away, while they're near a wall, while they're trying to get to a gate just in the middle of a team fight. It's much easier to use it to knock people away from you while you're retreating. It's insane. Right now on PTR, there's a short time where as soon as you hit it, you can't reactivate it. So like right now, you can't reactivate it in melee. On Reddit, they actually responded to someone asking about that and said that's kind of a thing that happens with some other talents like Wormhole and stuff, so that you don't automatically reactivate it right after it goes off. But they're going to change that on the grenade so that you can detonate it within melee range of Morales. And so, like I said, overall, I think this is a huge buff for her. Just changing this one tiny thing ups her skill level or her skill cap incredibly. And so I'm really excited to see, especially competitively, grenade plays now from Morales, because you would have them some before, like really well placed grenades, but now that they're given control over when and where it happens, I think we're gonna start seeing that more often, and I think Morales will become more of a pick because of that.
It sounds like fun. I mean,
Yeah.
just having the control of being able to choose maybe displacing them, pulling them forward a little, or of course knocking them back and disengaging. That just sounds like fun to me. I don't
Yeah.
know. I got to try this out.
We've known this was coming for a while, maybe about a month now. They had mentioned it in one of their
Yeah.
healing forums a while back, so it's good to see that finally put in there. Let's see. Move on to Warriors. Anything you guys
It's another
notice?
big one.
The
The
This one.
Nubrak.
Yeah, so there's two big ones that stuck out to me. The Nubrak one, where he's no longer invulnerable when burrow charging, now just unstoppable. So yeah, pretty big change. It's kind of
Still get damaged.
what?
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he got the Muradin treatment. Muradin recently underwent that with his Dwarf Toss.
So you won't be able to use burrow charge as that split second, I have no health left retreat
Right.
really anymore.
It's still a
Which
good
is-
retreat, just not
It
that
is.
kind of retreat.
But yeah, they didn't want invulnerability on a 16-second cooldown is basically what they said in the notes. So it's a decent nerf to him.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really is. So and there's, at least as of now, there's no compensation for it. So it'll be interesting to see if we see some other tweaks, maybe a little health tweak or regen tweak or something like that. But yeah, it's pretty much a straight nerf to him.
Johanna,
Yes.
Condemn, added functionality, now deals 200% increased damage to minions and mercenaries.
Yep.
Night takes pawn removed, so
they
just built
took-
in.
Yep, they built Knight Takes Pawn in to her W.
And
It's
that's what they should
the
do.
best
with some
thing
of
ever.
these 100% picks like that. I mean, if they want build diversity, then sometimes they just got to bake it in. And they've done that on other heroes before, but it's good to see on her.
Yeah. And then Muradin, they added functionality to his Thunderclap. Now also slows enemy attack speeds by 25% for 2.5 seconds. Gave his Reverberation talent a new functionality and moved it to level 4. It increases Thunderclap's attack speed slow to 50% and the duration from 2.5 to 3 seconds.
I love this.
Yeah,
I love
it's the
when they
same kind of
bake
deal.
in. Yeah, I love when they bake in this talent's picked all the time. Maybe it should be baseline, or at least a version of it, since Muradin's getting a slightly nerfed version of it baseline, and then that level 4 talent, you can kind of buff it back
Yep.
to where it was if you want to.
Right.
And Stitches here, I got a new talent at 13, Fleabag. Whenever Stitches stun rooted, same thing, basic ability, or no, reduce basic ability cooldowns by 3 seconds. So
I tried
almost said-
this on the Stitches. And so I was trying, and just to try it out, I was purposely throwing myself out in front. And it's just like, root me. Stun me. Root me.
Yeah.
Stun me.
Please.
I don't know. I could maybe see you picking it against a really root stun heavy team.
But
You give up your little Wretchling,
I mean,
which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
I
Poor Wretchling.
you should be saving your roots and stuns for not the tank. So I don't.
Right. Ideally.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't-
But, I mean,
Anyways,
that's
I
also-
don't think. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
I was going to say that's also maybe the tank's role a little bit in some games is to get in there and soak that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I
Fade
guess
it out.
by level 13, if you already know that the enemy team's falling for that a bunch, you could take it.
that's true. Bug fixes, a lot of them. But Rhaegar, Misha, apparently, I've heard the word
You mean Rexar?
Rexar. Gosh
Yes.
dang it. There's 2 orcs that are named with R's now, and 2 Protoss with A's, and that's really gonna
Yeah.
it's really gonna
Is
bother
that
me.
affecting your mind?
It is. Rexar, Misha, her she's apparently had her bug fixed. So I have not confirmed myself, but I have heard that's the word.
Misha Collision
Yes.
was the issue. She was being a dirt bear.
Oh, again?
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Dirt bear, but it's fixed now.
Yes. So
Well, good.
play Misha all you want again, or Yeah, it's Misha. You're not playing Rexar.
No, obviously.
But again, there's some more stuff that we didn't hit on in there. Feel free to check those out. TBK, what do we got going on for community content this week?
Community content was Bloodlust.
Yes.
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 So check that out.
Check it out, guys.
Again, it is
I'll
over.
link it.
It's 2,000, maybe like 2,500 over its for goal, but there's still one tier left at $9,000 raised. So get that in there, and I believe that'll be that 1v1 tournament later on, which will be cool. Not as cool as a 2v2 tournament, but you know.
Well,
I mean, $7,500.
Yeah.
That's almost as much as Blizzard's doing for their little Nexus
games.
games
True.
in between. So that's really cool.
All
Yeah.
right. Yes, and we had some questions, but we're going to have to push those back, get to those next week, hopefully again. We've just had so much stuff coming that we had to get into the show. But let's go ahead and wind things down here. Multi, where can we be reached at?
We can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or you can also, of course, chat with us on our Discord. There's a link in our show notes usually, but there's also one sticky at the top of our Twitter, which is @Lords of the Storm. Also, we're on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central. Right there for you. We're also on facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can send us an email with feedback or questions at lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. If you want to take the time and have an extra moment, we definitely appreciate any sort of feedback, like 5-star iTunes reviews, possibly, positive Stitcher, that sort of thing. We always appreciate. And perhaps even more than that, we appreciate our patrons at patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where, again, you guys make this all happen and make us feel good, too. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. You can also find us individually. You can find me on Twitter @GizmoZord and on Twitch at twitch.tv/GizmoZord. Facebook, GizmoZord, all the things GizmoZord. You can also find me on Convert to Raid, the World of Warcraft, and now All Things Blizzard podcast. We'll be starting back up here ahead of a few weeks break, and we'll be getting back up with Legion up and running now. So super excited for that. Multi, where can you be reached at?
I'm on Twitter @Multizord. I'm also on a show about Overwatch called The Cavalry, which is on Twitter @The Cavalry Show. And we just started a new WoW guild with a lot of the Zords. It's on Horde Gorefiend, if you guys don't have anything figured out yet. And it's a guild called The Cavalry, which is purely a coincidence, I promise.
Imagine that. How did that happen?
I don't know. I just threw the name out there, and people were like, oh, yeah, I guess that's cool. Yes.
All right, TBK, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter @TBKZord and on twitch.tv/TBKZord, where I stream hero stuff, specifically Chair League, which starts up next week. Woo!
Yeah.
So that's going to be a ton of fun. Be looking for games. Usually Mondays or Tuesdays and Thursday nights are the games I cast for that. So if any of you guys are in Chair League, maybe I'll get to cast you. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And if you're not, sign up. It's awesome. Do it.
Do it. We want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Zord, for helping support the show. We do appreciate it a lot. That's going to wrap it up this week. Stick around if you're in the live show for some games afterwards. Get some custom games going in the PTR. We'll see you guys next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.